I just want to start with a little bit of training and mindset around needs analysis. And then I want to talk about kind of the flow of it and role play it using this model, and then have you guys practice just a little. And yet the scenario I want to give you is that the agent you're in front of is your own agent. Okay, it's an agent that you know in the office. I'm doing about 15 transactions, 24 transactions, somewhere in there. I'm kind of stuck. I'm in that tipping point where I can't do any more on my own. I'm not very organized, and I don't have a full-time assistant. I have a couple of people that kind of help me here and there when I'm on vacation. And I'm in the position where I kind of need someone full-time. You know, I kind of had a tough life last year because I was working the whole time. And so I don't necessarily want to work harder. I want to work smarter. And I'm your agent. And I just want you to have that mindset of who we're pretending with today. Okay. So if you're role playing, you're that agent. Okay. And if you're the team leader in your role play, that's what you know to be true about this agent. Does that make sense? Everyone cool on that? Okay, cool. So here's what I just want to talk about just real quickly, and then we're going to get into this. The notes I made that I wanted to share with you today is that the needs analysis is where the magic happens. What I mean by that, it's where you actually kind of get some rapport going with someone. You uncover something interesting about their business, something that they are excited about, or something that they're working on, or something that they want to change or add to their business. And it's really the reason that you follow up and stay in touch, bottom line. So if you don't get to some interesting information about their business, there's no reason to keep the conversation going. So you have to get to it fast. And I know many of you have taken classes around consultations, and you have 30 questions. I'm going to show you the 4 questions, because the other point is not only is where the needs analysis, where the magic happens. If the magic doesn't happen, you're dead in the water. There's no reason to keep talking. And so some of you I've sensed that with your data, your pipeline said, well, there's no reason to keep the conversation going because we didn't get into it enough. You know, I can be nice and I can invite them to things, or I could share things, but I didn't get into enough about their business to really earn another conversation. I didn't impact them enough in some way. So I just want to remind you that that's where the magic lies. Now, here's the other thing I want to remind you of. When you think of needs analysis, I think a lot of you think recruiting. And you know what, I wish I could just take that out of your brain, because a needs analysis isn't recruiting. It's a business conversation about their business. And the truth is I never had anyone talk to me about real estate like I talked to my agents about real estate. And I had been with multiple brokerages and involved in real estate for many years with my family. So when you have a business conversation with someone, you've already established rapport, even if they don't want to move. So don't think this is a recruiting conversation. It's really a business conversation. So you don't, and the other thing I want to give you an aha around, because this took me a while to figure out, is I worked so hard to get these appointments, you guys. Well, I realized you can have this conversation anywhere. And if you go with that mindset, you'll realize you can literally have this conversation anywhere. So not only is this a business conversation, this is a conversation you can have with anyone, anywhere, and you don't need an appointment to have it, and you don't have to ask permission to do it. So what I mean by that is I struggled with the telephone calls. I got to be honest. In fact, it's funny because back there is like this really cheesy 1980s telephone. My agents gave it to me as a joke because they knew I hated cold calling so much. And yet I was really good when I got in front of people. So one of the things I mastered was stopping at people's broker opens and open houses. And I went to every event possible in the MLS. I mean, I really just was highly social. So I could get in front of people. And let's just say I run into Rebecca or Alva or Armand at some type of event. I'm going to just chit chat with you for a little while and then say, so how's business? And you know what that is? That's the beginning of my business consultation. I'm having it wherever we're at. If we're in a line, if we're at a table and we're just waiting for a training to start, or if we're at a luncheon or a happy hour or at someone's open house, I'm going to ask them about what their business say. As a business coach, I love hearing what agents are up to, and I love learning how they're changing. So I'm curious, with what we have all gone through with COVID, what's different about your business today? Now, I am just starting a business conversation, aren't I? But that is the beginning of a needs analysis. And really there's 4 little questions we're going to go through that you cover. But before I do that, I just want to remind you of a few other things worth noting. So number 1, this is a conversation you can have anywhere, anytime. And it doesn't have to be formal. It can be as casual as talking to someone at an event, or as formal as an appointment that you set to talk about their business. Now, truth is, I think most of you are just gunning for these official appointment set kind of appointments. And yet, how could you be getting this conversation going with everybody in more of a casual manner? Something to think about, because that might be a lot of missed opportunity for you. Now, and you also use a needs analysis, which is also known as a business conversation, as a way to get an appointment frequently. So let's just say I'm in a social setting, a real estate event or something like that, or a training. So it's more of a social setting. It's not a formal, you're coming into my office to meet with me to have a business conversation, but this more casual, I'm going to start chit-chatting with you about your business, and I'm just going to insert myself into your business. I'm going to say, Alva, I'd love to help you with that. I help hire talent all the time. I interview all the time. I have candidates in front of me all the time. If I had a better understanding of what you'd like done, I probably have someone for you. We should talk more. And I'm not going to say, would you mind meeting with me to discuss? No, I'm going to be like, you know what? Let's talk. So I'm going to be a little bit of assertive there and say, I can help you with that. No problem. No strings attached. Let's work on this together. So when you think about this business conversation, you guys, think about having it with everybody all the time. The average team leader should have like 6 of these conversations a day, between the agents in your office, the agents that you're meeting with, people that you're bumping into in the hallway and catching up with, because again, this can be a 5-minute conversation. Now, if it's internal, it might be as simple as, hey, Rebecca, how was your weekend? Great. How's business going? Is there anything you need help with right now that I should keep in mind for any classes we have or any tools I may have? What do you need help with right now? And you're going to talk with me like any agent would, right? Is that a business conversation? Yep. So that's all this is business conversations that you have. And the more you have them, the more fluid they get. And it starts with getting your confidence around here. So that's why when we hire you as a team leader, we have you focus on your agents first and have conversations, business conversations with them first to get to know them and their business. That's when you're practicing, you guys. You don't want to practice on your appointments, right? You want to practice on your own agents, because you want to deliver to your own agents what matters most to them about Keller Williams. So the other aha I want to give you is, yes, you can do this anywhere. You don't need an appointment to do it. Second one is, you do this more internally than externally so that you get good at it. But also, by helping your own agents, you get referrals. Who wants to be by referral? Yeah. So I interviewed Brandon Hawkins Tuesday. I forget what day it is. Tuesday. At any rate, he was my featured guest for Worldwide. I run their growth call every week. And that guy 250 agents last year.
Wow.
Okay, I mean, to gross that is pretty awesome, right? He net. So how did he do that? He did not gross any more than any of you guys could hit. But what he did is he spent his time coaching his top 20% on Fridays, and he got his appointments for the next week by doing that, because he helped them, and they're like, oh yeah, you should call this agent. And they helped him because he helped them. So just remember, when we teach you that perfect schedule and all that, there's a reason for it, because I know you guys want to be by referral, not by just cold calling. So I'm just trying to connect the dots with you, because it does start internally, and it's with coaching your top agents, not all of your agents, only the top ones that actually can benefit from what you're sharing. It's the ALC, it's anyone really with influence, it's anyone that you've recently hired, and you're coaching with them internally to role model what you're going to deliver to the people they refer. So the challenge I'd ask you, and this is a homework item I'm going to give all of you, is to look at your top 20% roster. And if you print it out, would you be able to write next to each of their names the current pain point or gap they have in their own business? Something to think about. Because if you aren't, I'm going to tell you right now, I can tell that you're not having that part of the conversations going. That A is going to help you become really good at these. You'll get your confidence and swagger with your agents first, right? And you'll realize how grateful they are, and it'll help you get a little uncomfortable to have those conversations then externally. Now, I'm going to stop here and just kind of clear with everyone questions you might have, or ahas you're having, or thoughts you're having. Let me hear from one or two of you. What are you hearing, or what are you picking up, guys?
It's coming from contribution, right? I think that at the end of the day, it's contributing to the lives of our agents. It's contributing to the lives of agents outside of the brokerage. And when we are in the business to help people advance, we get what we want in return.
Simply put, exactly. And we're building role models. That's the other part to it. You know, Armand, I'll pick on Armand because, you know, they're only a few months in Albania, and 3 months he's had Blerta, I think, right? 3 months, yeah. Blerta kept.
Yeah. We started on the same day, on 1st of November, and she kept yesterday, or let's say on Monday.
So you guys, Armand is in Albania. He is the only real estate model that caps. Nobody else does. No one in that country caps except him. How would you use that win to go get appointments, right? Isn't that cool? He has evidential proof of what he's doing. Now, he could go spend all of his time with new agents and trying to help them out, or he can go help someone else cap. What's going to get him further faster, and what's going to give him what he needs? Getting his top agents to cap fast, right? Evidential proof. So I'm so proud of you guys, because you're running fast, and yet you need to create around you evidence that if I move my business over to your office, that it's going to be awesome. And yet, you know, these things all go hand in hand. So awesome. So once you've kind of mastered it internally, you're going to have more confidence, you guys, to go out and talk to agents externally. And what I just want to talk to you about before we dive into real play, role play, is that this internal conversation is really only just a few questions. I've seen some of your needs analysis sheets where there's like 30 questions. It's really not about that. It's really just about finding these things out. So before we dive into this, I want you guys to all get into the chat, and I want you to share with me when you are talking to agents, either internally or externally, what are the pain points or gaps you're finding in their business? What are you running into? So let's just see what you guys come up with in the chat. If everyone could just put an answer or 2 or 3. Yes, Eason, I know, the only capping model. Armand, I think you might be able to convince Eason to go take a trip and help you recruit. Leverage time, external support. They want a team, but they don't even know where to go. Get started, okay. Listings, systems, leads. Okay, so nothing that we haven't all heard before. Anyone have anything really bizarre they're running into that would be worth unmuting? I mean, I'm pretty much everyone's got the same answers. Anyone have anything really bizarre? Okay, well, typically it's leads, listings, leverage, or money and time, or leads, money, time. Usually it's not too far from that, unless their life is just a total hot mess. those people you don't want to recruit right away anyway. So, but yet those are the things. But in the scenario that we're going to work today, I'm one of your agents. I'm doing somewhere between 18 and 24 deals. I'm kind of like maxed out, taxed out. I really don't have any official help. I have a couple friends that help me when I'm on vacation, but that's kind of it. And I want my life back, but I want to sell more. And I don't know what to do. So I'm giving you that scenario. And I would like to hear from a few of you what you would do for me. So who's willing to share what you would do for me if I was your agent? Anyone?
The leverage series, get them in front of the leverage series and understand the hiring process.
So yeah, teach me the process of how to hire someone. Awesome. That's a great one. What else? What else could you guys do? Bruce.
Virtual admins to handle that for them.
Yeah,
Transactions.
introduce them to a
business.
stopgap. Yeah, and say, hey, you know what? If you're not quite ready to hire someone right away, I've got someone that can help you and just freelance with you. Yeah, you always, that's why I always want an Indeed ad going, because I always want to have a few candidates for people like that. And that's,
Give them
that's
a
how I-
list of newer agents who are willing to act as showing agents for them.
Oh, that's a great idea. Another one. What else could you guys do?
Have them start writing down all the things they don't want to be doing that they need to get moved, and help them write their job description from those pain points.
That is awesome. And you know what? I do a step further, Delana, because I feel like they sometimes get stalled on that activity because they don't know how to start. So I print off the job descriptions for EA, transaction coordinator, listing manager, lead router. I think there's 5 total that are kind of admin-y. I think it was marketing or something. But I print them all out. I give them to them, go grab coffee with them and have them highlight everything they want done, because they can't even start sometimes. So you guys helping them do that and say, hey, let's go meet for coffee and go through this. You know, I might even have a candidate already. Let's talk about this. Let's go. Let me help you break this down. And that is a reason to get together, isn't it? Truth. You know, you can help them build that missing person report. So break it down into the simple. Another thing they love to do, Elva, I was surprised you didn't say Elva's the queen of the KPA. So the KPA is what she uses to recruit with. So you could have them do the KPA, and we joke about it, but when I talk about the KPA, I call myself match.com for real estate teams. And I have some fun with it because they're kind of nervous to take the test and all that. And I talked to them about really identifying their sweet spot and figuring out what the right candidate would need to look like so that they have their yin and yang. And we just talk a little bit about having them do their KPA. So these are all really good things that you can do if I'm your own agent. Now, if I'm not your agent, what would you do differently? Nothing. It's the same. It's the same business conversation internally, and it's the same business conversation externally. You're inviting your own agents to go attend your own classes that you know they should go to, and you're inviting the recruits to the classes that are going to make sense for them to attend. It is the same. Isn't that simple? Bruce.
I noticed that some of them like doing those things, admin work, and then they think that they're going to be spending money by hiring someone. And when you do their dollar per hour, they realize that, man, they would not hire somebody at $117 an hour for the same thing that they're doing, or $250 an hour for the same thing they're doing, when they can do it for 12 to 15 to 20, or virtually for a lot cheaper. So that's usually their eye-opening moment when they're like, I'm not really saving anything. I'm really spending way too much. So
It's like saying, hey, you know, would you pay $150 an hour for that marketing director? They'd be like, what? I'm like, well, you are now, aren't you? Serious. And then, and what could you have spent that time with your family? You wouldn't have missed the soccer game, or you would have been able to go on that vacation and actually enjoy it instead of being on your phone the whole time, right? It's really digging into that pain, Bruce, and you nailed it. You nailed it right there. So I love that. So, so I just wanted to give you those things to think about, because I think sometimes you guys think that these conversations have to be more formal, and you should be having them all day long with your agents internally and your agents externally. And it's the same questions And it's the same follow-up of how you would get them to do it, internal or external. And for some reason, you might be thinking that it's something different, but it is not any more complex than that. And the more of these conversations you have, the more relationships you'll build. And you're not going to get everyone to join you in 3 conversations. But if you continue to have these conversations and you continue to offer value and resources tied to what matters to them, and you invite them to the classes that actually make sense for them to be invited to, you are always going to stay right there having this high level conversation with me. Now, if you do this internally, you also don't lose your agents. I'm gonna just say it, you know, because if I'm having a high level business conversation with Elva and we know each other, I know what she needs, I'm helping her actively, I'm pushing her a little, is she gonna go wander off? And if I'm having these conversations externally, don't think they're saying no to you. They're just not ready yet. And when they're ready, you'll know. And a lot of it is luck and timing, you guys. It's not skill related to what we're doing. It's just that we continue to follow up, and they just had a broker change, or they had a new fee assigned, or someone in their office took a listing from their neighborhood and they're mad. You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense sometimes of why they move. And yet you guys need to have a big enough funnel to do it. So I hope that you guys really have an epiphany that this is the same conversation internal as it is external, and that you don't have to have an appointment to have it. And that as soon as you've had it and you've gotten to some sort of goal or thing that they want that they're not getting to, that you have the ability to stay in relationship with them moving forward, with that not to ever be lost, as long as you keep following up. Any questions around that? I know that's a lot to throw at you. Any questions around that? I don't see anyone raising their hand or chirping up. Okay. And then the other part to it is, I would put in front of me, am I asking questions or am I selling and telling? Because that's the other thing. Top agents don't want to be pitched or sold. They want to be helped. Now, if I'm an R2 and I'm in the predicament that we discussed where I need help, you guys all like, you could do this, you could do that, you could do this, you could do that. You guys all knew the answers, and you all had different answers, but they're all right, aren't they? And it doesn't matter what order that happened and did it. No. So if you think about it, the main pain points agents have, there's actually a list. And I'm going to put some of these things from my downloads in the chat. I highly recommend you download them. I just downloaded Coaching to the Pain Points, and I'm going to screen share and show them now. For anyone that's watching later, reach out to us and we'll give this to you. So these are the main pain points: money or profit, productivity, they need people or they need help. There's projects that are stalled out that are kind of keeping their business stuck. And I would say database is usually the first one. Most of them are stuck at database. They just don't have any way to prioritize, and they're a hot mess. A lot of agents can feel that pain. They don't have structure like a 411 or a schedule. Their mindset might be really toxic from, you know, the last year or two of their lives being disruptive, or they might have physical or energy challenges. Those are all real situations. Now, the majority of you will get time or money, you know, as the main pain points, yet on that sheet are specific models and things that you can share with them throughout the year tied to that, so that you have a strong SMART plan. So if you need a SMART plan, those are maybe some of the main points you might want to use. Okay, so we're going to go through the needs analysis real quickly. It's so simple. I'm going to role play it, and then I'm going to put you guys in breakout rooms. We have 27 of us, so I'm going to break us into like 5 rooms probably. Actually, let's do 6 rooms, Sheila. And if you have to jump off before that, do, but wait for me to get through this one next step before the breakout. Needs analysis. There's really this model. You need to know their goal, what their plan is, what their current challenge is, and you want to show them how you would have helped them if they were your agent, and then you close. You either close to join to the company or you close to have the second conversation, but you always close. You always control how it ends and what's going to happen next. So goal, I'm going to say some of the questions I might ask around a goal. It doesn't matter what you say. You could say, so what's your goal? I like to ask, what do you want to accomplish? What are you working on with your business right now? What do you want to get done in first quarter? When you think of 2022, what is your goal? Now that's me asking the exact same question in a series.
Talk to Shemida about
Oh, can we,
David Kaninsky.
can we mute,
Sponsorship?
Yeah, I'm a little bit, oh, no, not about a sponsor.
oh, it's Jennifer. Okay, muted. I lost my train of thought, sorry. But you want to just ask this question about what's the goal? What are you shooting for? Now, you guys have different ways of asking that question. It doesn't really matter. And I just said it 4 different ways for you. Now, what's important about that question is you don't move on until you understand why, and you calculate the actual impact having achieved that goal will make. That's where you guys often make the mistake. You don't really dig in. So if I need help with my business, you want to know why. Well, why do I want to make this change? Well, I'm just burnt out. I want to have my life back. I want to have trips with my friends. I want to spend time with my children. I'm tired of working till 8 or 9 every night. My kids are mad at me every time I answer my phone. Okay, you're gonna just let me list all the impacts that's having on me. And how is that impacting you? You know, what's the missed opportunity, or what is that costing you in your life or your lifestyle? Now, I'm gonna tell you, most agents all have one simple need. They all want more business. Now, not all of them, but most of them, right, will say, I would like more business. So the database conversation, you can really dig in here, and I'm going to leave that as a sidebar for us to talk about afterwards. But for those of you that ever role played with me, the database and getting a 6% return out of your database, that usually slips in here in that conversation because they want more business. But so I'm going to role play this real simply. So what do you want to accomplish? What's your strategy to do this? What's stopping you? What are you running into? What's your greatest challenge in moving forward? I'm asking you the same question in just different ways, right? And then who is helping you? And then say, I'd like to help you. Let me show you what I would do with you if I was coaching you. And then you're going to actually show something, some evidential proof, which I'll role play in a second. And then you're going to close. And I'm either going to close for the next conversation, or I'm going to close and say, so let me ask you this. If I could do all this with you, what would stop you from partnering with me? Let's get into business. What would stop you from getting in business with me? Do you feel like I could help you with this? And based off of what we discussed, you said that, you know, that would really improve your cash flow. By how much again? By $50,000. So what would stop you from moving forward with me and working together? And then oh, I love my broker. I have no interest in moving. I didn't even think we'd even talk about moving my business today. You know, all those objections would be great. Will come out. And you say, and yet, let me ask you this. Who's helping you with this? I'm going to go back to who's helping you. No one's really helping you. Well, how about this? Why don't I help you? I'll give you 2-3 coaching sessions. I'll help you through this. Now, you guys know what the objections are, right? Throw them in the chat. What objection are you going to hear to this role play? I don't want this just to be me yammering at you guys. Let's hear from you guys. What objections are you going to hear? What happens after we get done coaching me? What happens after you get done coaching me? Megan, you know what? By the time I'm done coaching you, you're going to be making more money, and we'll either be friends or coworkers. How does that sound? Either way, I'm good with it. I like you. Can't have enough friends in this business, right, Megan?
Right.
Does that one work for you?
It does. So if they come to KW as a result of me coaching them, I feel like they're stuck with me.
That's another class.
Okay.
They love you so much, they just are on your hip pocket for life. Yes, that's called the transition and the handoff to your productivity team, right? But no, you're right. And yet, who else? Who else has something rattling in their head? Like, give me an objection. What are you worried about hearing? Bruce says, I'm at 100% company. So Bruce, let's do the math. If you were to join my office versus your 100% company, how much total money do you think, how much total money would you have to pay in to be back at 100% with me? Do you know that number?
From our conversations, it looks about like 30,000.
Yeah, and I just showed you a plan to make 60 more. So are you willing to trade 30 for 60?
Well, not necessarily, but you know, I don't want to pay it up front
I've
either.
never had anyone tell me no to that, Bruce. So I think you're just being hard, but yet say, okay, let's be honest. If I can increase your business by a net 30,000, just this with this one strategy, do you think you owe it to yourself to do a little coaching with me to see what else I can help you with?
Yeah, I'll give it a try.
No strings attached. At the end of the day, we're going to be buddies. I'll be your plan B if ever you're not getting what you deserve, and you'll have a great resource here for Keller Williams, won't you?
Mm-hmm.
All I ask is that you commit to going all in with the coaching with me. Fair? Let's do it. Let's set up two coaching sessions. So that's another way I would take it. But again, it's really, what's your goal? What's your strategy to get there? They usually don't have any strategy. Say, interesting, okay. And is this really important to you? Apparently it is, okay. So what is the challenge? They don't know how to get started or whatever. And then you say, let me show you a strategy that I would work if I was with you, coaching with you. Now, I like to say coaching with you versus working with you because it takes a little of the pressure off. Because truth, Bruce, is you don't close people usually in one quick conversation if you only have 20 minutes with them, right? But if you get them intrigued enough, they'll really sit down with you and have a really thorough deep dive, won't they?
I actually did, though, have an R2 this week tell me that they were at 100% company. And I shared some of these conversations that you just talked about, showed them kind of how their business could grow. And yet they said, but if I got to pay a split, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to pay a split. I'm not even going to pay an admin. So. Right.
And for someone like that, you just move on because it's illogical. And sometimes they just can't figure it out. And you know what? Some people are also just really comfortable where they're at. So, you know, we're not magicians, but yet the more conversations you have and you get to this level, the more people that have experience that you'll move, right? And some people you just like, next, sorry, don't want to deal with that guy again, right? I mean, that's just illogical for someone to not be willing to trade double the money for, you know, that. And yet some people aren't necessarily the guy you're going to hire. So goal, plan, challenge, and then you're going to show, we're going to skip this in the role play. But I want you guys to we're going to break out into breakout rooms just for 10 minutes for you guys to just play around with this. And whoever's older is going to be the team leader first. So we're going to let's just do, Sheila, I hope I didn't screw you up by telling you 6 and now 4, because we have a couple people getting off now because of role play. But let's try to do 4 rooms if we can, Sheila. We'll just go with what we have because that way we have a few in each. What I'd love you guys to do is whoever's oldest is team leader first, and then everyone will have a chance to be team leader once. And let's spend actually 15 minutes so we have enough time to get all the way around. I'll be popping in and out of rooms. And I want you just to ask in whatever way you do this, and let's just assume we're just standing in front of each other talking. So tell me what's up for your business this year? What's next for you? How's business going this year? You know, however you guys want. What's your plan to achieve that? And what's stopping you? Now, if any of you want to razzle dazzle and deep dive a little bit further into the questions, go for it. So we're going to send you out in breakout rooms, and we'll reconvene at, we'll say 4:20. Sheila?
Yes. Sure.
And then what I'd love you guys to do when you come back is tattle on each other. Who did really good? Let's hear about what they did. Don't tattle on yourself, tattle on someone else that did a good job. So we're going to send you out to the breakouts and give it a try. And your goal is to get an appointment. So Sheila, can you send us off? Awesome.
Okay.
We'll see you guys in a few and I'll be popping in. So you better be role playing. You better be role playing. Perfect. Great job. We have a couple people that need to get assigned. Let me see if I can figure this out. Oh, there you go. You got it. We got Tatiana.
It's just taking some time.
This is awesome. You did a great job with that. Thank you for helping me. You saved me because I was like, I thought I could do it. Good thing I had you.
Oh, the chat is still there. I'm not sure why.
I am looking, and we'll just want to put Lizanne. We got Matthew Ray. We got a lot of people coming in. I'm admitting everyone so we can put them in a room. I don't know if there is a way to put these new people that were in the waiting room in. Oh, I can do it. I got it. I figured it out, Sheila. I'm sending you to your room.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, I figured it out. It just takes, I think, a second. There you go. Oh, this is slick. I don't know how to.
I'm still here though.
Oh, here we go. There. It'll take a sec. She's still like hanging out there, but whatever.
Oh, maybe she's not accepting and she's not in her desktop.
I'm going to put in the waiting room.
How did you do that? How did you
I don't know. I
manually
just
put
said
them?
I put in the waiting room. Like, this is kind of cool. Oh, I've been recording this whole time. I might as well pause.
How?
Oh yeah. I would say 80% of the time I've had to coach someone like once or twice more to get them closed because they have to touch and feel and believe what you're pitching to them in essence is true. And so we're gonna go into that because, you know, let's just say we'll use this scenario that you need an assistant. If I introduced you to a couple agents in our office that are new to having an assistant and you're like, oh my God, this is awesome. And I have a friend that freelances a little on the side that can take a little work off your plate and you can experience that. And I coach with you. Getting you to move is easy, right? Because I just made your world awesome. So, you know, and I think sometimes we feel like we have to trick people or outscript them. It's like, no, just be good. Just be good to them. But we lose sight. For some reason, we think we're recruiting, we're convincing. I'm like, no, we're not selling anything. We're not convincing or pitching. We are changing lives by teaching them how to put business in their business. And you know, the thing is, every person that you get a chance to have this quick business conversation with is going to look at you differently after you did. Even if they're not ready to make a move, because they're going to say, man, that guy is very valuable, or that was interesting information that they shared. So, you know, the thing is, I always liken it to because we used to have to number everybody like on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are they to join? I don't know who remembers the number system. I have like PTSD from the number system. But like, are they an 8 or a 9? You know, we used to talk about people like that. But really it was like, where are you at with the relationship so that they're making a move? And you think about it, the whole MLS is your unmet database. And then the folks that you've had enough of a conversation with to get to know something about their business becomes a MET. You know, they're not KW your office yet, but they're a MET. And so what you want to do in terms of follow-up is just keep loving on them, keep inviting, keep sharing, keep calling and inviting personally, checking in on them and how are things going, because so much of this is luck and timing. And so if you guys just adopt that mindset of, you know, I'm going to just love on all these people, I'm going to be valuable to all these people, I'm going to share my resources to all these people, it's really not a complex thing we're doing. So if you think about it, if you once a week as the leader of your office share information that's interesting, like Gary Keller being named the most influential person in real estate, or something about your local market, or a new strategy to get listings using some social media tool. Whatever you find valuable enough to share internally with your agents could be what you share externally as follow-up to keep your conversations going. So just, it's really the same thing. You know, if you're going to make a video about what's going on in the market, share it to your office, share it to your pipeline, and share it to the MLS. Don't just share it to your office, because it's all it's exposing your business credibility to them, isn't it? So cool. Okay, let's hear a tattle. Who did really, really good? Tattle on somebody else. You can't tattle on yourself because that's weird. Who's gonna tattle? Who did good? Anyone get an appointment, or anyone really handle a difficult person? Okay,
I think Mary handled me very, very well. So I was
He's
very
good.
difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I heard
even,
you were really about yourself. I remember I listened to you guys. You were really about your ego, and you're number one in your office. So why would you want to move? So she had to handle that. That's a good one.
Yeah. It was very difficult for her actually, but she was very convincing, and also she sold me her appointment. She didn't make an appointment. She sold it to me.
Very good. You know, the thing is, the more we share like this, you guys, the better we all get, because we steal little things from each other, don't we? Like, oh, I like how she does that or says that. And, you know, I got to tell you, that's what I missed so much with COVID. We used to get together for masterminds, family reunion, mega camp. We get our little groups and we'd like share our best stuff with each other, right? And then we go home and implement. So, you know, family reunion's right around the corner. And so a strategy is to get in front of all these new people that you don't know. Don't go sit with the people you already know. Go make some friends and trade notes on, you know, strategies. And the more you share like this, the more confidence you'll get. So let me hear one more. Who else did pretty darn good? Anyone else want to brag on someone?
Henry did great, handling a lot of objections about going from a flat fee broker, and then handling objections for me about, hey, well, I don't really need training. I'm already a top producer.
So who are you giving the shout out to? I missed the name.
Henry.
Nice. Very good, Henry. Love it. So here's the thing. This conversation is just a few questions. It could be done just chit-chatting with an agent at an open house that you stopped by. It does not need a formal appointment. And yet, if in this conversation, you're able to pull out a nugget about how you can help these people, do you think we have a few things we could share? A few classes we could invite to? A few tools you could give? So I hope you guys have the aha that these are the exact same conversations, and that you have 100 people in front of you to go practice on. And by practicing on them and actually listening to them and helping them connect to your own company, you're going to get referrals, or you'll just get better at it so that you can go cold call for yourself and set your own appointments, whichever way you want to do it, you guys. And yet it's the same. So what I want to end with is just a really good visual, and I'm going to actually bring it up on my other screen because I actually I struggled with selling and telling. Anyone else get excited and be like, oh my God, you got to join the company with the best tech. We're the best people. You're going to love us, you know, and they're like, whoa, slow down, right? And so one of the things I did is I put this visual, and I know most of you can tell what this is. It's positive present, negative future, positive future. I had this actually at the bottom right corner as a visual on the sheet that I took notes on. And some of you have gotten my needs analysis sheet. And the reason why I did that is because I would get excited. They would tell me something about their business, and I would go right into like, you know why you should join us. And, you know, when you think about that, you guys, if someone had no intention of being recruited, you just ruined it. You really have. And you're basically telling them that where they're at isn't as good as what you are. So it just sounds horrendous if you really think about it. And yet we all have a tendency to do it. So I'm gonna share with you what I did is I put this in front of me, because what happens is most of us slip into excitement mode, and then we kind of get a little sideways with the conversation, because we go from positive present, where tell me about your business, what's your goal? And we slip into negative present saying, so what's your plan? Because they don't have one. What's your challenge? You kind of expose what's stopping them. And when you calculate the missed opportunity in their life, or what money they could have made, or how much more time they could have in their life back, that's where the magic happens. And yet most of us avoid this, and we go like this. We go from positive present to negative present to positive future by selling and telling what we could do for them. Now, if you've ever been guilty of this, add this to your visual so that you stop doing it. And all I did is I had 3 bullets. It was just basically a square with 3 bullets in the bottom right corner. What I mentally worked on was every chance I got, I asked more questions specifically in that zone. So what I mean by that is I'm going to role play this. Who's willing to be my agent? Be difficult. Okay, Henry, you got to be difficult though, okay? Jump on. Okay, so Henry, and we're going to use the same scenario that you need help, okay? Henry, tell me, how's your business going? Tell me about your business.
Well, my business is okay. You know, last year was good.
Good, good. So let me ask you this. If you were to work on one thing in your business or have one thing, help with one thing in your business, what would that be for you? What's next for you?
To grow my business, you mean, or how to grow?
The answer is you need an assistant. We're going with that storyline.
Exactly. So I will say, yes, I need help going from 10 million to 20 million.
Got it, got it. And in order to do that, what needs to change?
Well, I don't know. I think that I will continue to do what I've done over the past couple of years and help me grow a little bit. So more social media and go door knocking a couple more times.
Do you think you could double your business by doing the same?
I think so.
Okay. So let me ask you this. What's stopping you from growing your business by doing the same? What's your current challenge in your plan?
Right now, I got too many leads, so I don't want to go get some more because I'm afraid that I'm going to lose.
Okay, he's not following the storyline. His storyline is he needs an assistant. So you need an assistant. So let me ask you this, Henry. If you don't, so by getting an assistant, what do you hope? What's going to change? You're obviously going to be able to handle more leads, get more business.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be able to be out there in front of people instead of being stuck in my office doing paperwork.
So let me ask you this. If we looked at the average week, how many hours a week do you do $20 an hour work?
Oh, I don't know, a lot, because I do a lot of paperwork myself.
And I looked at your numbers based off your production. You're a $200 an hour guy.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think it's going to be like 5 hours a week or 10 hours a week that you're spending time doing that?
Yeah, I'll say about 10 hours a week.
So how much, so $2,000 a week you're spending already by doing the work of someone else. Wow. So that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. Come to think of it, you're right. I need to hire somebody for half that money to do everything I'm doing.
Okay. So let me ask you this. What's stopping you from hiring someone awesome?
I don't know that many people.
Cool.
I don't know
Okay.
who I need to hire.
Do you have clarity on what you'd have them do?
No, I think I need to put some models and system in order to grow my business.
Okay, that's fair. And assuming we've hired someone that was just like a rock star, you know, super techie, super smart, figures things out. Do you have a plan to train them?
To be honest, no, because I've done everything by myself to this point.
Okay. And if I put someone in front of you today that was totally capable, would you know what to start with them?
Ooh, maybe for the first few days, but then after that, no.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Who's helping you with this?
My broker.
Okay. How's it
She's
going?
great. She is going okay. She's always there to answer questions.
No, I mean with hiring this person. Who's helping you hire this person?
Oh, nobody. Nobody's
Okay.
helping me hire that person.
You know, I really enjoy, I think you're a great agent. I'd love to help you. This is something I do for all of my agents. This is something I can help you with easily, and it would be no bother for me. I know you're happy with the broker you're at and you have no interest in moving, but let me help you with this. Let's go get coffee tomorrow. I'm going to show you some resumes and get clarity with you on what you want. And then I'm going to show you how you get them trained. Do you have time tomorrow or Friday to do that?
Have you ever had somebody tell you no to that?
No.
Okay, then let's meet for coffee.
Okay, great. Now, I spent a lot of time down here, didn't I?
Mm-hmm. You did.
In the past, I wouldn't have, and I'd be like, oh, I can help you hire an assistant. And I would ruin it. I ruined it over and over and over again. So the more you drill down over here and quantify the gap and the pain and the impact, the easier it is to close someone either for the second appointment or to move to the office. Now, let's just say we get coffee, we get clarity on this, and then I show him the career visioning process, an example KPA, the job descriptions, and say, hey, Henry, let me help you with this. And he's like, well, I don't want to join it. I don't want to change. I love my broker. I'm loyal. All the stuff we hear, right? And I say, no problem. Let's do this together so you can experience what it would be like to be with us. And that way, if ever you're not getting what you need or you've outgrown your environment, you know we'd be a good place for you. How about that? Now, the truth is, Henry, when I've helped you do this, I've built so much relationship with you, so much more than your broker, even if you're very loyal. I can then go in and say, Henry, what kind of change is this going to make on your world? And let's be honest, if your broker knew how to help you with this, I'm sure they would have. Perhaps you've outgrown your broker. And you know, it's hard to break up with people, but this is not about your brokerage versus Keller Williams, is it? It's about you and your family. So when are you going to choose your family over your broker? And Henry, it's okay, I'll help you with this, but you should expect this kind of help as a growing agent. This is an expectation you should have. This goes beyond friendship. This goes to business. It goes to your life. So again, I'm gonna set up regular every week. We're gonna get together and work on this together. I'm gonna move quickly with him. He's gonna probably stall out on me, and I'm just gonna stay with him as if he didn't. I'm just gonna keep rescheduling, keep going, keep sharing. I'm not gonna get offended. I'm not gonna get frustrated by him, but just expect that about 75%, they start ghosting you a little because they know you're right and they're not ready. Take it as a compliment and keep going with them. Act like it's not happening. Just keep going. Hey, I know you're busy. When are we rescheduling for next week? How about Tuesday? Let's pencil it in. I'll check with you Monday to make sure that's going to work. Now, yes, lots of reschedules. That's the life of a team leader. Yet again, just inject yourself right in. So that's basically what I wanted to just kind of, the two topics I wanted to talk about today is just basically the flow of the needs analysis, and then kind of this, don't do this. Let's stay in the zone of, let's stay in the pain. It sounds really mean and horrible, but stay in the zone, because then you have a reason to get in business together and you're helping them move along. I'm open to answering any questions, taking on any zingers, any situations you have. Some of you need to move on and get on your day. Totally don't worry about jumping off and going, but I'm going to stay on till 5 for anybody that wants to ask anything.
So I had
Matt, and then Dylan.
Thanks. So I had a question about that regarding, I want to get better about the questions. I think that's one of my weak points. Is I was working on this and I even had a little template for some of the questions I want to ask my other appointment, but I kind of, the questions ran flat, because to some degree you want these questions to be guided, right? You want to ask specific questions that lead them on this U-shaped path to, hey, you know, we have some opportunity to, exactly, right? You want to go down that path, but sometimes the questions just kind of circled back to this positive moment of where they were. What I'm getting at is, one of the things I found a tremendous amount of value in that helped me in my ATL to TL role was the list of questions that fit in each of these categories that I got at coaching skills camp. Is there any place outside of that that I can go that's just a quick rundown through these questions that fit in these different quadrants?
I guess it's just, this is the flow. You know, what's your goal? What's your plan? What's your challenge? Who's helping you with that? Let me show you what I would do. And the close. I guess that's just been my natural formula for so long that I don't necessarily think it's a list of questions. It's moving them along in this conversation, Matthew. Because, and so what you could do is write this out and then write 5 or 6 kind of questions you like for each. So let's just kind of play around with this a little. So, you know, what do you want to accomplish? That is such a generic question, but I like it better than what's your goal?
Yeah.
People get sick of being asked, what's your goal, right? What do you want to accomplish with your business this year? You know, after what you've all been through these last couple of years, when you think of 2022, what do you want to accomplish? I think that's a great question. And it's not recruity, is it?
No.
Are you on track for your goal? Don't ask that one, right? No one likes that. You guys hate it when I ask, so how are we doing this month? Right? So I guess what I would do is my homework for Matthew or anyone like that is think of this as a path and write down a few questions that you kind of like for each. So, you know, what do you want to accomplish? So how are you going to do that? Or what's your strategy to accomplish that? What's your plan for that? And then what's stopping you? What's getting in your way? That's a challenge. Who's helping you with this? Can I show you what I would do if I was coaching you? Now, again, I'm not saying working with you. If I was coaching you, I want to show you what I would do with you, what I'd show you how to do. Now, I'm going to tell you, and most of you know this about me, if you look at my second screen, I have all kinds of goodies pinned. Like if they want to talk about their database, here we go. Let's talk about your database. If we want to talk about a 6% return out of their database, here's the article. And I'm showing them the strategy right here. If they want to talk about money or budgets, there you go. If they want to talk about the 36 touch and getting that 6% return, here it is. I have all this just pinned so that as I'm talking, I can put it in front of them. Same thing with command. I can cruise around command pretty efficiently. So I'll say that does help when you can kind of throw that stuff in or push that across the table or show it up on the screen. So that's all I got. Is that good, Matthew? Yep. Okay, Dylan. We should all say where we're from because this guy's Toronto.
Toronto. Well, I'm from New Brunswick, but it's yeah. Toronto. Saying I'm from Toronto is more exciting. So one thing that I'm facing right now is an issue of cold feet. So yesterday, had somebody in the office, good to go. I just need to talk to my husband Roberto, and we're golden. And I even asked, you know, what objections would Roberto have? So really trying to be able to forecast anything that would prevent her from coming in today and signing. Let
me role play that back at you a little, because you got a lot of good things here. You got a lot of good things, but when you have a significant other, not to bring that into the conversation pretty early is a misstep. It's like going to a listing and finding out they're married and the husband's on a business trip for 2 weeks. It's like, okay, we're gonna come back in 2 weeks, right? So in the conversation, before you get to really talking transition, I want to ask them who else they want to include in this decision, who else wants to see this command, who helps them, even if they're family, friends that are illegally helping them in real estate, you know, you never know what you're going to get. I am like, who else needs to see this? So if you don't get there, Dylan, what you can do is say, you know, I would love to share with Roberto or whatever you said, Roberto, some of the things that you said, you know, you've identified that would be real important to you. So before I do that, let me ask you, and I'm going to ask the recruit, when you think of all the things we've talked about and I've shown you, what are the things that you're most excited by with making a move with us? And I'm going to have you, Dylan, reclose me and tell me what you want. And I'm going to re-bring up the pain. So Dylan, by having that admin hired and me helping you and making sure it's someone that knows what the heck they're doing and we've got a good training plan and we take some of that off your back, what kind of impact is that going to have again on your life? Okay, great. Another 100,000 and life is way better. Now, what do you think about your husband or Roberto? What's going to be important to him? So I would bring him into this conversation probably a little bit more than you are. And it's not too late to go back. So if you get someone stalling on you in this situation, Dylan, what you might do is reconvene, saying, I'd love an opportunity to have a conversation with you guys at your home or a Zoom together so that we can find out from Roberto's perspective what he think is important, you know, or she thinks that whoever this person is, what they think is important for your business, and share with them together some of the strategies that we would take action on if we decide to move forward. And I want to make sure that I haven't missed anything that might be keeping you up at night. That's another great thing. So another thing to do is to slow things down, believe it or not, to say, hey, before we get any further, tell me again what you're most excited by. So let's just say we decided to get in business together. What would you want to accomplish first together? Maybe it's their database. Maybe it's branding. Who knows? Great. What else? What else? I'm going to ask you to tell me what you want, so I know if you're closed. And what kind of impact is that going to have? And what kind of impact will that have? So we need to get with Roberto and talk to him about what we're thinking to see his perspective and get his feedback. And I want to be able to show him, like I showed you Command and some of the other things that we talked about. When is the time we could do that? So again, I'm just kind of role playing you different ways. I kind of rekindle that conversation again, Dylan. And yet assume they always have someone that wants to intel. And it's even smart to do because they often have a recruit, a friend at their old brokerage that they're tight with, that they kind of bring into the fold, and then you get a 2-for-1. You know, so who else confidentially is in your world that should be seeing this with you? Who else is a decision maker in this with you? And you can circle back. So a great way to start over again, if you've stalled with someone, to say, hey, I have a really good offering for you. So I want to get back with you to revisit what's important to you and make sure I haven't missed anything on this offer that I want to send you. And basically it gives you a reason to get back, kind of revisit, are things the same? Don't assume. What's worrying them about making a change? Unpack that all the way. What else? What else? What's keeping you up at night? What's the worst thing that could happen? And you want to unpack all that and remind me again, when you do make the move, what is most important that we implement quickly? Why do you want to come to KW? And I'm going to get that far at reclosing everybody, because they're not really closed if they can't tell you those things, right, guys? And you'd rather know that they're not quite closed than for them just to ghost you and never talk to you again, right? So one of the things you can do is introduce them to an agent role model in your office doing what they want to do. Have a top agent on your ALC call, introduce themselves as one of the agent leadership members, and say that I coach with Dylan and Dylan's helped me do this with my business. And I just wanted to reach out because I know you also want to do that, and I want to be a resource to you. If you have any questions on what my assistant does for me, she can meet with you and kind of go through what she does. Here's my, this is what I did first. Here's what I did second. Having another agent help you seal the deal is really smart. So don't think you got to do this on your own, you guys. One of the best things you can do during family reunion is have one of your top agents that's staying behind call everyone in your pipeline.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. And personally invite you to a training and say, I coach with Jessica Fox as well. And I'm happy to give you any perspective from an agent. If you have any questions, feel free to call me. And that's usually all they need. So there's a little bit, and I'll kind of go into this a little. I think there's a little bit of a formula, and I haven't really formulated this yet, but I think the formula is there has to be a gap. Otherwise, there's no reason to have a conversation or keep the conversation going. So you've got to identify a gap. Once you have the gap, it's for them to believe that you can solve their problem. So they've had to see it. You can't just talk about it. They've had to see the formula for a 6% return on their database, or they had to see the article that talks about it, or they had to see the budget model and peel this book back and learn a little bit, or they had to see a KPA, or they had to experience a training in your office, where they had to have a top agent from your office call and be nice to them. And they have to have one friend, somebody they kind of like. It could be you. You could be their friend. But if you have someone over in your office that you've introduced them to, they kind of like, so that's the only part that can be dangerous, because sometimes agents aren't liked. So you want to introduce them to a couple of people to make sure that it's someone that they're going to jive with. But yet, you guys, so many of these agents are just stuck where they're at because they just avoid change. They think, God, this is going to be kind of a pain in the butt. I don't know if I really want to do it. I don't know what it's like over there. I don't know what the people are like. So, you know, sometimes it's just connecting them to an agent that's really likable in your office with great energy to help you through the finish line. Does that answer that's kind of a long, drawn out answer, Dylan?
Yes, I'm just trying to figure out how to, I guess, like, you don't want to scare the fish.
Well, here's what I like to say is if they were on the hook and we're talking transition, okay, and they ghost you, keep pretending they didn't ghost you for like 2 or 3 days, and then send them a text like, did I offend you? Don't use that too early though. Did I offend you? Is it, you know, and usually like, oh no, life has been busy, or I had a deal blow up, or you know, and really it's usually cold feet. And say, you know, Dylan, you could get away with this. You say, now you owe me coffee. Right? You can get away with that, right?
Mm-hmm. This particular person, and yeah, I could call her right now and say that.
Do it. Do it. Don't be afraid that you have to be perfect, you guys. This is about relationships. Have some fun with them. Pretend like they're in office, in your office. They're kind of saying, hey, what happened about getting serious about hiring this assistant? Didn't see you in that class. You know, do we need to work on this with you? Do you need a little help? You know, this is the same conversation. I hope you guys really feel that today. And yet, for some reason, most of us compartmentalize it as selling and telling and convincing, and it has nothing to do with that. We're not asking them to choose companies. We're asking them to choose their environment in which they run their business. Fair? And you need to role model what it looks like and what it feels like and what we have. And that's called follow-up. So don't give up on them. And then the only last thing I'll say is sometimes you need to let them off the hook. And I'm just going to say, I would leave you a message. Dylan, I know life is probably real hectic because you haven't been calling me back. And yet still love you. And I know that when the time is right, you and I are going to work together. Let's have coffee next week and regroup. And usually if you let them off the hook a little and you get them back on, you're back where you were. And then if they still didn't respond, I'd be like, did I offend you? Question mark. And I would just wait, because if they really don't respond to you, then move on. But usually they're like, well, this is, you know, and I'm not sure. Now, the other thing you got to remember, if they're talking to you guys, you know, they're shopping. So a lot of times they stall you to shop a little. So if that's the case, I'm going to assume it and say, you know, I'm sure you're shopping around and looking at other options. Let's sit down and look at what you're looking at. Let's have a conversation around it. And what I would often do is say, what companies are you considering, so I can give you some good intel? And they might say, whatever. For those of you that have broker metrics, I send them the broker metrics of their entire roster. And usually these companies have very low production. Sometimes I'll even do a video message to the agent saying, hey, I know you mentioned you were looking at Dalton Wade and you're looking at that Century 21 office, the Berkshire office, and then Joe Schmo Realty. Here's all of their reports. Here's how our office sells, and this is what they sell. And here's their roster and their top agents. None of their top agents are doing what you want to be doing. So I doubt that you want to move there. And I'm going to be that aggressive. I really am. I'm just going to throw it right in their face. Say, I know they probably have promised you the world, but do you want to come in as their top agent? So, you know, so you might even ask that, Dylan, say, hey, you know, what's going on? You don't want to assume, but, you know, did I offend you? What's going on? And then you may need to let them off the hook to get them back on.
Yeah, I think I like the approach of, you know, let's just have coffee next week.
Yeah, let's regroup.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you owe me coffee now because you no-showed me, or have some fun with it. Lighten it up. You're great at that.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so if you guys find value in this kind of chat and this kind of conversation, we'll do more of it. And yet I'm just throwing this stuff together. So if you could give me more feedback on what you think you need. I just kind of threw this together, and this is real play, right? This isn't scripts. This is like, let's talk. So I love real play because I think if you hear other people, you realize this is not rocket science. And I'm going to like what Jenny said, or I'm going to like how Alva explained something, or how Jennifer explained. Jennifer had a lot of great advice today. You guys all have so much for each other, but yet I hope you heard that this is a single conversation. This is not a recruiting appointment. You're not selling, telling, or convincing. You're helping someone with their business, and you do it internally and externally, and it's identical. And the follow-up to getting them to move on the thing that they want is identical. So, you know, don't overthink it and have fun with it. But the more conversations you have and the more people you help, the bigger your gross and your net will be. And yet people sometimes stall on you. Don't worry about it. Keep going. If you have 300 different people you're talking to, it doesn't matter. But if you have 13 of the same people that you guys keep focusing on, which many of you do, your chances of doing well is really hard. You're working really hard. Get the 300 conversations going. Most of them will be blowing you off most of the time. Don't take it personally. It's a not yet. It's not a no, and just keep moving on. And that is how you can gross 20 or more every month with your eyes closed, and 2 or 3 of them are R2s because it takes a little time with them, and the time's got to be right for them. Henry, you had one more question?
Not a question, more like a favor. Can you show us again your second screen so I can screenshot what screens you have up there? Because I like that.
You know what? I'll just throw it all in the chat real quick. Then you can just
Awesome.
download.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yes. So anything else that we can do for you, you just let me know, guys, because we're passionate about giving you what you need. I can do these kind of sessions on Thursdays. I usually would do it earlier because I know you guys are all end of day for the most part. And I feel bad because Albania is like very late. It's like 7.5 hours later. So I give him a lot of credit for being on. You know, together we're all better. So practicing, the other thing is if you guys need to just practice, you know, connect with each other, you're going to meet each other, you know, in situations like this. And that gives you an opportunity to find someone you kind of like how they do things. That's all you need. And that's where you get your confidence. So practice makes confidence. But again, you can practice internally on your own agents. So I hope you found value. Give me feedback. We'll do more of this if it was worth your time. And I really, really love you guys. So take care. Have a good rest of your day. And I'll see you this next week.
Thank you.